This video is for educational purpose only. This is not the original content and all credits goes to respective owners. There is no copyright infringement intended. It is a recreation of Tedx talk given by Dr. Shashi Tharoor on topic a well-educated mind versus a well-formed mind. All the media, video, music and symbols are just for the sake of making the video look like the original one. It is purely for academics and there is no monetization hence associated. In case of copyright ownership issues, please contact at the address given in the video description.
Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. We are team Avid Renegades now going to present our communication skills project enacted with the Tedx topic a well-educated mind versus a well-formed mind by Dr. Shashi Tharoor.
Now our team will introduce ourselves. I am Krati Srivastav.
I am Ankit Singh.
I am Shomajit Ghatak.
I am Rishabh Kumar Mishra.
I am Raksha Sabu.
I am Shivan Singh Raghuvanshi.
First of all, we would like to thank our institute, NIT Raipur, and our Professor of Communication Skills, Dr. Anup Kumar Tiwari sir, for providing us this golden opportunity.
He provided us experience, exposure and insight on how to create a video with required things to make it effective.
Our team has done a lot of hard work in making this video. Hope you all enjoy it. We're open for constructive criticism so that we can get to know about the shortcomings of our project. Let's start the video.
Today I am here to talk to you about Indian education and higher education in particular. Let's start with addressing a very fundamental doubt, that is difference between literacy and education. The term literacy refers to a person's ability to read and write and in any one of the languages, and the term education defines a much broader perspective through which a person acquires knowledge, skills, habits and most importantly morals, ethics and values, which makes a human much humane. Continuing with demography, 65% of Indians live under the age bracket of 35 years, and the fact which is even more interesting unwraps a whooping 50% of country's population is under 25. We are an amazingly young country. In fact, Bharat has the largest adolescent population in the world, 253 million, and every fifth person is between 10 to 19 years of age group, and they are the ones who are poised, in other words, to enter higher education. This is amazing because it's happening at the time when the rest of the world is aging. Average age of Bharat is 28.2 years. Of course, we need not ask about the gap since we heard about the gaps between the average age of the person of the Indian cabinet. I think we hold the world record for that, which is again reminder to increase and acknowledge young minds in Indian politics, which I believe will be revolutionary if right young minds engrafted with principles and patriotism obviously towards the nation more than the political party they are aligned to will surely boost our journey on the path of reaching our old glory and legacy, being an example to rest of the world too. But that's another aspect to it. Coming back to the particular topic, what we have got with the average, then considering the mark of 2023, the average age in Japan is 49.1 years, Europe's is 44 and the States is 38.9. Sums up in simple as we are potentially and also India's average age is 28.2 years, which again sums up in simple as we are potentially the people who are youthful, productive, dynamic, young population ready to work and transform the world. The kind of role that say China played in the last generation could be ours in the next one. Till now we got a clear meaning of our topic, that an educated mind climbs intelligence quotient, depicts and hold lot of knowledge and data as much as the presentation has mentioned till now, with values, while a well-formed mind has knowledge and information database learning more or less than compared to the educated mind, but it relates more to the real and practical world, the way we analyze and deal with real life situations and circumstances, and most importantly a well-formed mind lodged with modesty, kindness, humility and recognition of one's true inner identity. takes us to the pinnacle of success, if not definitely that, then to the feeling of satisfaction and contentment. Now, inclining again towards an educated mind, we come back to the data, as International Labour Organization has worked out that at the mark of 2020, we have 160 million people in the age group of starting work, which is 20 to 24 as they calculate, and in China they only have 94 million. So we are really poised to do that. But by the way, other countries have a serious deficit. That's US have 17 million short in terms of how much they need of working age. We in Bharat have the people, but do we have the abilities to equip the people to take advantage of this, to be workforce of the work engine for the world? This is where the learning process starts. As stated by a Chinese scholar himself, Sun Tzu, resembling, we need to keep our friends close and enemies even closer, so that the same population but quality, so that we can learn the work. India and China has almost the same population, but quality differs, as China has been very serious about the common people's life indexes, and educating people is the key solution to a large bunch of problems. Education is basically a tool which empowers a person with fighting spirit in life. See, if we get it right, we educate and train them, we really transform not just our own economy and our society, but the world too. This is the idea which with the closest proximity with our ideal of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that world is one family. Family works together. Together we uplift our human civilization in advancement, which resembles educated mind, and also with the principles and values which comes under the well-formed mind criteria. If we get it wrong, some way or other, the demographic dividend that I am talking about becomes a demographic disaster. So after all, it all starts with nothing and progresses as something till it becomes everything. Thank you.
So education in our country is not just a social or economic issue, it's even a national security issue. We have got to equip our people to take advantage of what the 21st century offers them. Now this is a story in a nutshell. 4 E's. Expansion with our first priority in education. Why? Because the British, and I won't even ask if any of you here left us in 1947 with a 16% literacy rate. There were only 4 lakh students in the entire country in higher education. We had 26 universities, fewer than 700 colleges. So obviously expansion was essential. We have gone right from 16% to 74% literacy rate. The number of schools has increased to over 10 times, from 1.4 lakh at the time of independence to 15 lakh in 2020. The number of colleges has also witnessed a steep rise. From 578 colleges in 1950, India now has 4,343 colleges. The number of universities in the same period surged from 26 to 1043. The government has set measures to improve the open and distance learning infrastructures, such as blended online courses, digital repositories, funding of researchers, improving student services, maintaining the standards of imparting quality education, and much more measures. Also, the National Education Policy 2020, which replaced National Education Policy 1986, aims to transfer the education system by 2040. So, expansion has taken place. We have also had to fight for second E of equity, that is, including the excluded from education, trying to reach out the unreached, the people who didn't get a fair chance in education. For a reason they couldn't help, gender, an obvious reason. Several initiatives currently being undertaken in this direction, such as in elementary education, the Right to Children to Free Compulsory Education Act 2009, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and Midday Meal Scheme, etc. The schemes and programs created quality education system with a special focus on marginalized students. The right to quality education is one of the basic rights, as an education is one of the basic rights. As an educated demography acts as a great leveler and is the best tool for achieving economic growth, that is inclusive and sustainable. When we had that 16% literacy rate, do you know what the female literacy rate was? 8.9%. At the time of independence, just 1 of 11 Indian women could read and write. Caste, religion, all sort of people got left out of the system. We had to bring them in, and that became a big challenge and a priority of education. But the government offers various scholarships for the economically weaker students to ensure they have access to higher education. The Constitution Act of 2002 inserted Article 21A in the Constitution with the aim to provide free and compulsory education to children in the age of 6 to 14 years as a fundamental right. Gender discrimination in education has been evident and underlying problem in many countries, especially in developing countries where cultural and socio-political stigma continue to hinder growth and prosperity for women. In India, schemes like Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign were launched to promote the education of girls, as gender equality in education has been a priority. Also, efforts has been made to provide education for children and disabilities through inclusive education policies. While these steps have been made significant progress in promoting equal rights in education, challenges such as equality disparities, regional imbalances, and digital divide still exist. Government continues to work on addressing these issues to ensure equitable access to education for all Indian citizens. Now, many of us usually get confused by the terms equity and equality when referring to educational equity, but there can be important distinctions between them. The American Library Association defines an access to channels of communication and sources of information that is made available on even terms of all this definition. No one has an unfair advantage. Everyone has equal opportunities and accessibilities and is then to do what they please. This is not to say that everyone is then inherently equal, while equity recognizes that some are at a larger disadvantage than others and aims to compensate for this to ensure that everyone can attain the same lifestyle. Equity aims to ensure that everyone's lifestyle is equal, even if that requires unequal distribution of access and goods.
In getting those two things more or less right, I don't know how well we did on third E, which is for E for excellence. Obviously, you need quality. And we set about setting up institution of great quality in our country. The IITs are a good example. In fact, it's a part of Jawaharlal Nehru vision that the IIT Kharagpur was established back in year 1956. And it was done on the site of British detention center, the Hiji detention center. So a symbol of political operation become instead a symbol of hope, of technology, of looking into the future. But for the IITs, the IIMs, a few good institutions, I am sure you could all pick your few around the country. These have tended to be islands of excellence floating on the sea of mediocrity. Indian scientists, economists and writers have received Nobel Prizes, showcasing the countries of intellectual contribution to innovation and advancement. And also, India has made progress in improving educational opportunities for girls, leading to increased female enrollment in schools and universities. The Indian Space Research Organization has made remarkable achievements in space exploration and technology, including launching satellites, lunar missions, and Mars missions. This has significantly contributed to scientific education and research. Initiatives like Digital India and SWAM, study waves of active learning for young aspiring minds, provide online education resources, making learning accessible to a broader audience. The need for higher education in India has increased manifold in the past few years, similar to other countries across the newly industrialized world. On a global level, enrollments have increased by more than 50% in the previous decade and now exceeds 150 million, with nearly half of the total number of students coming from emerging market nations. In India, as of 2013, enrollments have grown from 10 million in the year 2000 to 23 million. Because of the spurt in number of enrollments, there is growing interest to improve quality and access of higher education in India. However, there lacks a consciousness on this topic because there is a little empirical evidence. Mentioned below are 5 short ways in improving the quality of higher education in India. Instead of dogmatic, transform the curriculum into something dynamic. The syllabus of curriculum for the Indian student in higher education is obsolete in a majority of cases. The topics are dogmatic and stale and try to teach things that have already been implemented worldwide. For ensuring dynamism, the curriculum needs to be progressive. Students need to be offered the choice of opting for multiple courses in the first year only, with an ability to choose whatever they wish after the first year or semester. The spirit of syllabus should revolve around the projects and not exams. There needs to be innovation to avoid stagnation. Exams must exist to measure, however, they need to be complemented with innovative ideas such as 50% or final exams and 50% for projects. The projects need to be judged by the independent faculty members rather than the faculty in a place. Students must also be given the ability to switch to other streams according to their preference or after justification of basic criteria. When we say streams, it should be simple with engineering, but may be tougher to shift to a commerce stream. For this to take shape, we need young, dynamic faculty members who are part of academic syllabus boards. Give teachers their due by paying them more. The academic board is predominantly charged by teachers in their 60s and 70s. We don't want to be sound offensive to these teachers, but there is a need of younger lecturers and professors for a healthy blend of youth and experience in the education system. The younger teacher would be in better position to relate to technological changes and new age requirements of students opting for higher education. The disturbing fact is that majority of young professors are outcast from the IT industry or have been taken job as a last resort option. Very few professors into profit-making ones rather than non-profit. This might sound ridiculous. However, after careful thinking, this is a good idea. It is known fact that private colleges are revenue generating. Institutes mostly run as large corporate organizations. The solution lies in the removing the tag of non-profit and making them competitive. Let the private college compete with each other in open manner rather than slugging it out under the carpet. We must realize that education too is a form of business, and the more we pretend to ignore it, the higher the incidence of corruption if institutes are tracing education as a business to improve the overall standard. One of the predominant pillars in growth of education is the level of interaction between students and industry. Leading companies should be invited for such interaction. When corporate houses approaches college for placement, there should be a minimum qualification criteria for students to be eligible for placement. For instance, students should show their worth by contributing to the college income through R&D. Conclusion. All the 5 suggestions mentioned above can help tackle the Indian higher education system, which is plagued by the problems. These suggestions may fail to break the deadlock or lead to the revolution. However, they need to be incorporated. Some of these suggestions may sound lofty and far-fetched. However, if one suggestion improves the higher education system to a certain extent, then it's a worth it.
Indian higher education institution is simply not of the quality that you and I, all of us, in this audience would like to see, and that ties into the 4th E I have added to this catecism: employability. Look, employability, as we all know in simple terms, is wholly dependent upon the service one provides to the employer. Talk to employers, talk to CEOs. What would they tell you? That they are simply not satisfied with the quality of graduates they are getting. What else can you say? Even in the technological area, engineering graduates, 500,000 engineering graduates a year, such a big number, right? But if one talks to the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries, they did a survey and 67% of employers are not satisfied with the quality of graduates they are getting in. That strongly claims 2 out of 3 employers are unhappy with the employees. Some companies are running essentially re-education places like the gigantic campus in Mysore. Let me be quite precise. It's not on the job training which big companies tend to do. It is a step further. In fact, a full year's education for the people they have already had to make up for the deficiencies of what they have learned or not properly learned in the college. Anyone would say outdated syllabus, ways of teaching, lack of practicality and application-based study has left us backward in comparison to the world superpower such as the United States of America, etc. Since we are not being properly educated, that is the scale of challenge that we face. What are we doing about it? One shall ask this question to himself. It must be the duty of every individual to ask for transparency in governmental schemes and their applications to the ground level. A great deal needs to be done. Of course, we are trying to put kids into the system at an early age, the RT, the Right to Education Act. If kids were out of the school in olden days, it was their parents' fault. Today, if they are out of the school, it's their state's fault. The government is committed to actually getting them education. We have got more and more money being pumped in by the system at all levels so that every young mind gets what is essential for it. For example, many people have gone to prestigious universities. Lot of people in India don't. They go to state universities which are grossly underfinanced. They lack resources that are truly required by universities so as to serve for the betterment of the India. In order to sort this problem out, we have come up with a scheme to pump central money into the state universities so they actually have resources to do something with the students they have there. But there's a catch. Providing only financial support may not grant freedom from every big and small issue. In fact, money is not the whole answer. There is an entire challenge in terms of addressing things like the gender gap. That's a gap. Basically, the gender gap is related to the difference between the educational status of an individual based upon his or her gender. We must overcome that gap right now. Women's literacy is 66%, better than 8.9%, but still means that, 1 out of every 3 Indian women still can't read and write. We have to overcome that, ensuring quality education for both girls and boys, particularly in rural areas. Engaging with local community leaders, conducting awareness campaigns to highlight the benefits of educating girls and women. Overcoming the gender gap in literacy rate is a long-term endeavor that requires sustained commitment from government, society, and community. It involves changing not only the education system, but also the societal attitude and norms regarding the value of girls' education.
I went off to a village in Tamil Nadu not far from Kanjipuram where I met women who were in their 50s and 60s were learning to read and write. And people sometimes think, what's the point? Some of their own family members, their husbands think, what's the point? The answer is, it changes their lives. It empowers them in real ways. I spoke to a woman called Chitramani who proudly wrote her name in Tamil on a piece of paper. And I said, so what is being able to read and write mean to you? And she said, now I can see the destination of the bus, where it's going. I don't need to ask somebody where that bus is going. I know where I can go. When I get to the big city of Gandhipuram, I can read the street signs. I can find where I need to go. I don't feel helpless anymore. That kind of empowerment is what literacy gives in a very real and fundamental way. It helps people to understand the world and navigate through it effectively. It teaches us to think for ourselves. It makes the society more accepting and open-minded, and that's actually what we need. Also, we are trying to empower people, of course to those who dropped out early on in the days before we got to that 74%. Talking about the younger kids we have got them into schools now. We have something called the gross enrollment ratio, which is actually the percentage of children of a certain age, of that appropriate age, gaining a particular level of education. It tells us the level of participation or enrollment at the primary, secondary or higher education levels. But at our primary school now, our gross enrollment ratio is 116%. We have actually enrolled more kids than we thought existed at that age group, because some of the older ones are coming in too. But the bad news is, as you go up the level, it starts dropping. So by the 8th grade, I am afraid it's down to 69%, by the 10th grade 39%, and by college our gross enrollment ratio is about 18% against the global average of 29%. So clearly we still need to do more. Our expansion hasn't gone far enough. We haven't managed to get everyone to stay in the system. So one solution is vocational training. Vocational training is a type of education and skill development that focuses on preparing individuals for specific careers or trades. It is designed to provide practical and hands-on training in various industries and professions, equipping individuals with the skills and knowledge needed to perform specific jobs roles effectively. So we actually need vocational training. They are not all going to become white-collar clerks or officials or IAS officers, right? So we need to try and catch them and get them into vocational training. But how do you do that in a culture where for 3,000 years, if you wanted to become a cobbler or a carpenter, you would better have an uncle or a father who's a cobbler or carpenter, because nobody else is going to teach you. The transmission of knowledge of tradecraft in our country has always been through the gene pool. The reason why the sons of politicians tend to be politicians also, and with Bollywood stars, the same story. So we need to get master craftsmen. So being a country of 1.2 billion people, we should not have a nationwide shortage of masons, of plumbers or certified electricians. So we need vocational training. Technology is a powerful tool in education. Integrating technology can enhance learning experiences, providing access to a wealth of information and interactive lessons. Virtual classrooms expand educational opportunities, especially in remote areas. Early childhood education is the foundation upon which a child's future is built. Investing in quality preschool programs ensures that every child starts their educational journey on the right foot.
We must also support students with special needs, providing them with the resources and trained professionals they require to succeed. Inclusion and diversity should be celebrated in our educational institutions. Assessment methods should shift towards holistic learning outcomes, focusing on a student's overall development rather than mere test scores. This encourages a love for learning instead of rote memorization. Extracurricular activities such as sports, arts, and clubs foster creativity, teamwork, and critical thinking. They provide a well-grounded education and opportunities for students to discover their passions. Our school infrastructure should be modern and well-equipped. Libraries, labs, and sports facilities are essential for a comprehensive education. Community involvement is key. Engaging the local community in supporting schools through volunteering and partnership strengthens the educational ecosystem. We must address students' health and nutrition needs to ensure they are physically and mentally prepared to learn. Lifelong learning is a value we must instill in our children. Encouraging a culture of continuous education among teachers and parents sets a powerful example.
We need to get more vocational training into the system. We're doing that now. We're now rolling out the whole concept of community colleges so that kids can go in, have some academic training, lots of vocational training, and at the end of 2 years, if they show tremendous academic promise, they can go back into a university. If not, they leave the 2-year certificate and they go off into a useful trade in a society that is just clamoring for these skills. So these are the kinds of changes that we're trying to bring about the move along. But there's a change that the government alone come. If you look at the need for research and innovation, you've had a lot of that. I'm sure in the course of the TED Talks, research is something which the government wants to double the amount of money spending on research. Now we're planning to increase the amount of money getting pumped in research from 1% of GDP to 2%. But still they haven't had the money to bump into it yet. But innovation requires new ways of thinking. I heard you had the talk of hyperthinking in the previous TED Talk, but I missed it, but I am very into it. Now let's get back to the topic. I was saying that innovation means to learn how to think out of the box. Now, we have done a lot of innovation in India. Indians are mainly known for the word jugaad. We are very big jugaadus. If we search in Google today about frugal innovation, top frugal innovation in the world, then the top 20 list will be related to some Indian innovation. We have invented the world's cheapest electrocardiogram, the simplest and cheapest EKG, the cheapest insulin injection, and also the world's cheapest small car, the Tata Nano. All that's come, but all these have been things invented somewhere else, and we have stripped down, made more affordable, more replicable, more relevant to our condition. We need to do things that others haven't done before, which we used to do in our culture. We are the land where zero was invented. Remember how Romans used to write their numerals using long strings of letters until an Indian guy gave the idea of zero, merging from the notion of shunyata in Hindu and Buddhist literature. The idea of zero just revolutionized the global mathematics. We need to think like that again. We need to come with ideas. We have 17% of the world's brain, and we are just giving 2.8% of world's research output. That shouldn't be the case. We need to focus more on research and more on innovation. We need to get our kids into the classroom, not just to have their heads filled with facts from textbooks, material, and teachers' lecture, because frankly that gives you a well-filled mind. But in the era of the internet, you don't need a well-filled mind. You have got Google. Google can find anything just with the click of a mouse. We need a well-formed mind, a mind that reacts to unfamiliar facts and detail, that can actually synthesize information that it hasn't studied before. A mind, in other words, that can react to the bigger examination that is life, which doesn't actually only give you things you have prepared for, and for that you need a mind that's shaped by original thinking, the mind who has the experience of real life. Now, just giving a small example, my grandfather used to wear glasses, and he used to forget them because he always doesn't need glasses. He used to leave those glasses somewhere else, and they used to get broken. Now my grandfather has lost some 3 or 4 pairs of glasses just within a span of a month, and he was very tense. So he asked my brother, who is just 12 years old, that what should I do? I am losing my glasses or breaking them because I don't always need them. So my little brother came with a solution. He said that let's revolutionize the thinking behind glasses. Normal glasses hang around the ears, but this type of glasses will hang around the neck, and there will be a magnet in between two glasses which will snap and you can use them, and they will hang around your neck so you will not lose them or break them. So this was an example. It was a very small example, but it actually demonstrates how a well-formed mind works. It leads to creativity, thinking, and leads to an overall development of human society because it solves a real life problem. So this is what I'm talking about, a well-formed mind. Now I know that personally in India there are lot of problems, there are a lot of hindrances, but we can fix that using a well-formed mind and a well-educated mind. Let me give you an example that more than 95% of 12 years old can read and write. So we can definitely say that a great future is ahead of us. So if we fix all the problems, if we put all the pieces in the correct place in correct time, then we can definitely one day say to the entire world that copy that. Thank you.